What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode on Mods and Fixes. And today we are going to replace the starter on a 2006 Volkswagen Passat with the V6, technically the 3.6 motor of this vehicle. For the past year, the starter has been starting to kind of lag in a way. So after the car's driven for a while and then you stop and go to the store or go home real quick and then you hop back in the car, within the hour of that you turned it off, and you go to turn it on and it takes a while for it to crank over. Like if you have a low voltage or a dead battery, it'll turn on like that. It'll just go vroom, vroom, then it'll turn on. But it's annoying. But it's been getting worse this past month. It's not the battery. I already replaced that, so it's the starter. I'm going to assume that it's the original starter of the vehicle, so I'm gonna go ahead and replace that. And just so you guys know, because it is a Volkswagen, they tend to put quite a bit of plastic in here. So before you start working on it, make sure that the engine is warm, not hot, not too hot, but make sure at least the engine and whatever plastic in the area is warm, so you can go ahead and work on it. If the engine is cold, parts are cold, plastic parts are cold, then you're going to break something, because it's these parts are very fragile. So it helps if the engine's just a little warm, if it's at least warm in this area or whatever you're working on. For example, this piece right here broke on me. I didn't know you were supposed to do that. I learned that on my own. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to remove the airbox. I put the car on ramps, which I didn't have to, but I mean, I'm not super tall, but this kind of helps. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the airbox. You're going to remove all of these Phillips head screws. They don't come out of the box completely. And then I'm going to disconnect the MAF, take this off right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove this right here. So let me remove the airbox, or at least the top first, and we'll be right back. So the tools that you'll need to do this job is a angle chuck for an impact, which is what I used, with a T25 bit, Phillips screwdriver, long if you have it, a T30 bit with a hex 3/8 adapter to connect to the impact, a 10mm socket with a 1/4 inch long extension with the 1/4 inch ratchet, 3/8 ratchet with this swivel socket adapter, 1/2 inch with a 3/8 drive short and long socket, 18mm 3/8 drive socket, a short and long 3/8 socket extension, 2mm Allen head wrench, and these tools up here are optional. I have a light, a flathead screwdriver, pliers or channel locks, 1/4 inch impact on low, and a 3/8 auto ratchet. So these up here are optional, but you will definitely need these down here. All right, let's get to it. Next thing you want to do is go ahead and take off this little cover. There's this little clip right here. Just lift up on it. This cover comes right up. Okay. I didn't take off the whole top cover of the air filter. I'm just gonna leave it up like that. It's staying, so I'm not gonna deal with it, because the plug for the MAF, it's not budging, so I don't want to risk it and break it, so I'm gonna leave it like that. And then you want to take your T25 and you're gonna remove 2 screws. One that's right there in that hole, right there. I already removed mine, and the other one right there. Oh man, right there, right there. Remove those two, and then this portion of the air filter system, flow, whatever, will come right out. So you do that, and then it's time to work on the bottom part of the box. So from what I can see is gotta give my light. There's that right there, that screw, and then that one right inside the middle, and I don't see anything over here that tells me that there's something holding on to it. But let me fiddle with it and see what it takes to remove it, and then I'll be right back and let you know. Alright, so I went ahead, I removed this screw and this screw right here. The screw that's inside is a plastic screw, but what I used was a T30 on this one. It did look like a Allen head bolt, but I went ahead and just used a T30 Torx bit. Then I used a 2mm Allen head on the plastic screw right here. It doesn't come out of the box, it just comes with the box, so just pull up as you're loosening up this one, pull up on the box at the same time so that the box and the bracket separate from each other. And then go ahead and remove 3 Phillips head screwdrivers that are Phillips head screws that are in here. There's one right here, that one right there, and one right there. You remove those, and this whole little compartment inside of the box comes out. This little compartment right here. So just pull up on here. You probably want to use 2 hands at the same time, and it pulls out right just like that. There's a bunch of little rocks and stuff in here. This little thing is spring loaded. I'm assuming that that's a sensor or temperature. So I'm assuming this works like a thermostat. Once it's hot, this little contraption opens up and lets in more air from that side of the airbox right there, which is pretty much just grabbing hot air in the engine bay that's behind the motor. See right there? That tube right there? Yeah. Not sure if that really helps the motor by breathing in hot air, but whatever. But we're not here to discuss what we're doing or what it does. We're here to replace a starter. So after you replace this, after you take this out, then there's the other 2mm hex Allen plastic screw to remove. So you want to do the same thing. As you're loosening it, lift up on the box so the box comes out, because the screw is not going to come out of the box. So let me go ahead and do that, and we'll be right back. Okay, so the next steps would be to remove this bracket right here that holds the airbox. You're going to need a 3/8 socket. Remove that one and that one right there. I already loosened mine up. If you don't want to remove the bracket, that's totally up to you. But because I got big hands, it'll give me a little bit more room to work with. And then, oh, and don't forget this one right here. I forgot that one. This one right there. Okay, so after you take this bracket off, all 3/8. My bad. Did I say 3/8? I mean 10 mil. 10 mil heads, bolts. After you move those 3 to remove the bracket for more room, then you can get a 1/2 inch socket. Remove the ground cable right here, and then you can move this cable out of the way because it's right above the starter. So yeah, So you can just move it around, and then you can go ahead and remove it completely if you like. So here's another one right here. Remove that if you want. Let's see. I might need both hands. So go ahead, you can remove that cable completely or just halfway. But yeah, all right, I'll be right back to let you know what's next. All right, so the next thing to do is, let's see, right here, this right here, this is a little piece of plastic holding this harness to this bracket that's bolted with the starter. So just pretty much lift up and push that off to the side so it's off of the bracket right there. See? Okay, so next thing would be is, it's up to you guys if you guys want to go ahead now would be the time to go and disconnect the negative terminal from the battery. On my Passat, it's located in the trunk on the driver's side. That's where the factory battery is. On some cars it might be right there, or it'll be right there, or right here. So so now will be a good time to do that. And then you can go ahead and disconnect it right here. This little boot right here, you can move the boot out of the way. It just moves out of the way just like that. So you would have to remove this right here, this little nut. I don't know what size that is yet. Might be 1/2 inch, I'm not sure. And then you have to disconnect this plug right here. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead first and loosen up the alternator. So good thing I did put the car on the ramps, because the other nut, you can't get to it because it's directly underneath the alternator and it's not visible from up here. I mean, I have my light stuck in here, but I can't see it. I can't see the nut. So I had to get under the car, remove the dust shield or whatever you want to call it right here. Remove that. There should be, on mine, there's 4 Phillips screws on this side and 4 Phillips screws on this side. On yours, it might be 4 T25s on both sides, and then there's 3 1/2 inch bolts holding the back side of that dust shield on the back side over there. And that's why you need to drop it down. And then you come up here, and I should have brought the light with me, but the nut is right here. That right, oh man, that keeps getting blurry. Sorry about that, but it's literally, where's my finger? Right here. It's literally right here. I should have brought the light with me, but it's literally right here. As soon as you take off the dust shield, it's right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen up the alternator, and then I'll worry about disconnecting the wires from the alternator. So let me do that, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead, I loosened up that top nut right there. That is the positive wire that goes to the solenoid of the starter. It's a 1/2 inch nut. And then next, you're gonna want to grab a small, like a tiny screwdriver, pull back on this little red tab, pull it back, and then once it's pulled back to where it is right now, then you can push down. Let's see. Then you can push down and remove the plug, just like that. All right, so I went ahead, I removed both 1/2 inch nuts, the one on top and the one on the bottom of the starter. I almost wanted to say alternator. So to remove the bottom bolt, you're gonna need this little tool right here. I keep forgetting what this is called, but I'll make sure that I put it at the beginning of the video of tools that you need to do the job. But I keep forgetting what this is what it's called. But you'll need this little thing right here. It'll help you to undo the nut underneath the alternator. I mean, the starter with your 1/2 inch drive socket. You can either use the short or long socket. For me, I use the long socket underneath. So I'm gonna go ahead now, loosen up the starter. If you have to tap it with something, go ahead and tap it, because it's gonna be on there pretty tight. So but I did forget something. There's actually a bigger nut on there, so let me get myself ready and we'll go on after that. I'm just I'm learning as I'm going, and then just showing you guys what I run into. So let me see what size nuts these are, and then we'll go ahead and continue. All right, I went ahead and removed the 18mm studs. So after you remove the 1/2" nuts that remove that bracket that's mounted to the starter, then behind that you got the two 18mm studs. They are pretty tight on there. So I used underneath a 3/8 ratchet with the 15mm socket, deep socket, and I also had to use that piece again, and then I used a wrench for leverage to help break it apart, and then I went ahead, instead of wrenching, I used my automatic ratchet right here. So I already removed both studs right there, put it next to the other one. Okay, and then now I should be able to pull this starter out without any issues. So hopefully nothing's in the way now. This kid was kind of in the way, so let's see. Okay, easy. Yeah. It feels pretty loose. So yeah, I guess it was time to go. Doesn't say if this is the original. No, it's not. This has been replaced once before. This is a Bosch. So it's not the original, huh? So I wonder if somebody had the same problem that I'm having now. Decided to replace a starter. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. So now it's just time to put everything back together, and that's it. So I'm just go ahead, do everything back in reverse, and see what happens. I don't think I really have to explain how to put it all back together. There is no special way. Just make sure that there's no debris in here. Take out any debris. Take a rag. Take all the gunk out. And when you put the new one in, since you have to line up you don't have to line up anything. You just have to line up the holes of the new starter. Because this when you go to turn it on, it engages, it shoots out and spins the flywheel to turn the motor over to turn it on, so that you don't have to do any real adjustments. So I'm gonna go ahead, slap this thing back on, slap the new one on, and I guess we'll see if it'll let me start it without it being 100% put together. So we'll be right back. All right, I got the starter all the way installed. I tested it, turned right on. Before I replace the starter, the car's starting to have like a rattle sound, almost like as if the the gear, the spline on the starter wasn't retracting all the way. Now that sound isn't there anymore. The sound was there as soon as you turn on the car, and but yeah, just like I assumed, it was gonna probably be the starter that was also rattling. So to make the install a little bit easier, there is a plug underneath here that I recommend you unplug, because it makes it a lot easier when you go to put in the bottom bolt. So this plug right here, this one right here, I can barely see. Yeah, this one right here. This cable, the plug that this cable is connected to, is connected to just a plug. It's not a sensor connected to the transmission. It's just a plug where more wires run in through the transmission. So I recommend you unplug this so you can easily put in that bottom bolt on the starter. It'll make it a lot easier. Another reason why to take it off is because when you try and put the bolt back in, the bolt wants to go in crooked, and you will start to strip threads inside of the transmission, and you don't want to do that. I tried doing it with the plug in because I removed that bolt with it plugged in, right? It came out with no issue. But it is an issue when you want to put it back in. So I tried doing it that way, and I tried to get it started with my fingers, and it wouldn't go. So I kind of tried to force it, and you can feel that it was getting hard. So I just went ahead and pulled the bolt out, and when I pulled it out, there was one little piece of thread that came out with it. So definitely recommend removing this plug right here, so you can put in the bottom bolt on the starter. And that's pretty much it. That's how you replace a damn starter. But yeah, so now I'm gonna go ahead, just put everything back together, and it is what it is. Like I said, I didn't have to remove the top portion of the intake box. I just left it plugged in, but I did remove the clamp so I can easily move this back and forth like the way it is. I can right now. That, but it'll easily come out. So there it is. I'm gonna go ahead, just put it back together and call it a day. So that's it for the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell, because every time I upload, it'll be about me mainly fixing something. No mods yet. I'm not at that point right now, but hopefully soon. Alright guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.